Okay, let us start. Let others join. Today, in our strength of material class, as if we are doing the only the virtual labs, we are doing showing you the strength of different experiments of strength of material, not solid mechanics itself in that strict fashion. As per the last information received from the university itself, they told that unless they tell otherwise, you have to do your laboratory experiment with your available strength of material equipments, and all must be on virtual mode. No physical mode is allowed up to this moment. Well, that's why I am repeating it because I know that you have already done it physically in your third semester. But let us recapitulate this machine is once again. I also have a lot of materials, written materials from different universities, which I can share with you. That's good, and good questions are also there. Everything will help you to improve yourself because all these machines, all these works are totally basics of any engineering discipline, especially mechanical engineering. Uh, we have discussed four different experiments. One is torsion, three was in hardness, and now we are discussing the impact testing machine. What we have seen in your lab, first of all, you can remember, we have a Azure and Sharpie intersection machine available in our lab itself. First of all, let us think and understand what we are going to do, what we are going to test in a impact testing machine. Now, what is impact? What do you mean by this term impact in technical terms, not a normal dictionary terms impact? Actually, I've told you during my physical classes, in the engineering industries, the applications of load and loads may be tensile, may be compression, compressive, maybe twist, maybe bending, maybe so many things. But as per the mode of application of the load, there are only three type of load is existing. Three type of mode of application is existing. What are they? Say you have a load equal to W. You are supposed to apply to your member rather gradually. So first you have to start from zero, and you slowly but steadily will reach to the maximum value W. This is the case of 99% application of load. Anywhere we do, even our daily day life, daily experimentals, other experiments, other work, working, whatever it may be, we are applying load from zero to the maximum. Maybe the duration application is extremely less, but we are gradually applying it. But there are other instances that if the load is not gradually applied, if applied with impact, or it applied suddenly, what is the problem? What is the difference? Is there any difference, or is the same strength? The or the concerned member is showing the same strength against impact or gradual or sudden application? Answer is no. Clear cut no. Your member, which you are subjecting to certain load, gradually from zero to say W, will not behave similarly when the same load W will applied suddenly. What do you mean by suddenly? You will just say a beam, just imagine a beam supported with both the ends. You are applying a certain load P at the say at the middle. You will apply it from 0 to P, gradual application. Maybe duration application is infinitesimally small, but still you are doing it gradually. But you apply the load P all on a sudden, just you place that material over it within a second. It is a method of sudden application of the load. And how does it behave? It's an important and interesting thing. Third is apply with the impact. Means you may apply gradually from 0 to P. You may apply suddenly, whole total load is oh, horrible situation. Hmm. Now, Now, what we are supposed to do when we are applying the constant load with an impact, say load W, you have your member, we are striking it with certain force and with certain velocity with the load W on the your member itself. What we are applying? First, the full load you are applying, you are striking means you are imparted certain amount of kinetic energy to it, and mil joule you are creating a lot of additional weight, additional force over your item itself. While you are applying gradually, you are not striking it, you are not applying any kinetic energy to it, but just we are pressing it all on a sudden. More or less, gradual application, sudden application has more or less same effect, slightly less strong in gradual sudden application than gradual application. But when you are striking with an impact, means when you are striking the load is applied all on a sudden, first of all, then it's applied with an impact, means it's applying a considerable amount of kinetic energy to the member itself. So the situation is totally different. Much more strength, much more resilience is required from your material, from your concerned member, if you really want to withstand this type of force. Now, in your syllabus of strength of material, what we have done initially, what you have done, we are applying, we are going through certain basic experiments. Hardness. What is the ability to resist a particular material against scribing, against indentation, against some piercing, some action over the surface? How well it is resisting? This is the property defined as hardness. So, for any engineering materials, say mechanical engineering, you have to encounter a time of again this problem. Say I am using hard material for this type of application. I am using soft material for this type of application. What is the difference from my work in my work that will make? He will require, say, a lathe. He will require much rigid, hard, strong, and higher capacity lathe to work over a hard surface. Say capstan, say CNC, everywhere requires much higher tonnage, much higher capacity, much higher apply load if you want to work on the hardness itself. So, in order to know, if order to purchase, you have to select from your existing machines for a particular cutting or particular type of machining operation. You must know what is the hardness of the same material. So, if it is soft, comparatively smaller, less capacity and less rigid machine is required, but it's harder. It's a totally different. Depends on the how much finish you are doing. If you have to make a very accurate finish, say few microns of tolerance, you require a rigid and harder machine, even on soft material. So hardness is important not only due to the resistance to scabbing, resistance to indentation, but also required how better finish is required of your workpiece. Harder the material, finish supposed to be more. Softer the material, finish supposed to be less, or more sophisticated machines is required to finish as per your requirement. Such is the case for hardness. Okay, next comes torsion. Actually, any machine member which you are subjected to is which you have at your hand, you'll find that extremely complex external load is being applied to the machine itself. Maybe separately one at a time, but mostly all at a time. Maybe the machine is facing a hardness test, machine facing a torsional test, machine facing a tensile test. Your concerned machine when we start going to operate on a piece of work itself. When you are, say, for a lathe, we are applying, you have applied a certain depth of cut to your load. What the tool is creating, what type of force the tool is creating? It is creating torque because it is subjected to the surface or the circumference of your, say, round bar, which is rotating and you are applying, trying to cut it. So torque is important. And you have to know how much torque is required, how much this your material, how much torque can resist itself. Because after making finishing work, you'll find that it is broken. It was not torsionally rigid. So if you do everything, your machine material was rejected. So you have to know that torsion itself. So thus you have to know hardness, you have to know torsion, and besides, you have to know impact. It is basically due to the reason that all machine members are subjected to a complex nature of application of load. That complex nature, maybe I'm again telling you, all the different loads may work at a time. Not all the different loads may work one at a time. Say, sometimes you create a torsion, creates an impact on your machine due to some of your work. Even if you want to handle the machine, move the machine from one place to another, you may with some additional jerk during handling, during unloading from the truck, or during movement from the proper, etc. So you are creating unknowingly lot of jerk or impact of the machine. If that machine, or even during the work, when you are applying the load, say cutting load force you are applying on a lathe, you are not applying it by impact, but applying all of a sudden. So that has a different thing. So you should know how much resistance a particular material is providing against this sudden application of load. That you have to know, because there are instances the machine is strong enough, machine is hard enough, or the particular beam, say a beam in your room or in your house, it is tested in lot of different ways, and everybody is sure it is strong enough. It can withstand all sort of low external loads. But one fine morning, you just fell a heavy furniture or other certain type of heavy load, heavy equipments or particle equipments or furniture, whatever it may be. You suddenly fell on the machine, on the floor itself. So you applied the full weight of your furniture or full weight of your equipment, and with an impact, you are striking your floor with your equipment. Its force is acting, its total load is acting, as well as it's the kinetic energy with the which it is striking the floor is also acting. So if your beam is not that strong enough to carry this type of impact, your equipments got broken. At the same time, your floor also got broken, and you may be very seriously injured by staying in a broken house. So there are so many instances where this impact force is operating. So before doing anything, before going to the applications, you should know how hard or how what is the impact strength of a particular machine itself or machine member itself. Now let us see what is our impact machines are behaving. Let us run a few videos over it. Now let us start with our impact sensitive machine. What we are seeing here, there is a vertical unit here. I'm showing you take it again. This is a vertical swinging or oscillating bar is there. This is a weight of certain alone. We are creating 18 kg per meter square torque with this weight. The individual weight of this machine is not known to me. At present, it is not under action, but it is just hanging from its position. Again, have a look at it. It is hanging here, hanging from here. It is not loaded or located on its specific position, but just hanging because the machine is not working at this moment. So, first of all, what we have, first we have to understand how we are applying the impact load. In practice, there are different way, unknown way you have to face the impact of on your machine. But in your laboratory work, you have to know how much load you are applying on interact and how. That is should be specifically known. What we have a swinging shaft here. Starting, it is hanging here from here, and at this free end, we have a certain mass or load, which is called, which is the what calls as the punching. We has a punching block, or striking block, which strikes our workpiece, and this block is situated as fixed at the end of this device. Next, what happens? Let us see. Again, it is visible from some distance. Still, same thing you are seeing. There is a shaft here from here to here, and with a highly polished bearing, we are hanging this particular shaft here, and this end we are fixed a weight, and this total mass inside as well as this total shaft itself has a certain considerable weight. How much we are applying during Azure test? We are applying at 18 kg meter of load, and during Sharpie we are acting 36 kg meter of load. Here you see that due to this what I will say, due to this during this laboratory work, we have created a device for producing the impact energy to your work by swinging a load and keeping loaded. We have applying this impact load by a certain weight or mass, which is fixed at certain weight, certain height, and it is released from that height. It is not striking that raw material, I mean workpiece directly, but it is swinging after a known amount of swing and then striking the workpiece. In this process, you are creating a huge torque. You don't have to create or use a heavy load. But without using a heavy load, you can create an enormous force by just releasing a heavy weight certain distance and swinging it and striking your workpiece. In your harness testing machines, we are saying for Brilliant 3000 kg equivalent weight is applied. For Rockwell, uh, 60 kg of equivalent weight is applied. For Brindle, 150 kg of equivalent weight is applied. But never we are using the 150, 3000 or 3 metric tons weight or 15 kg weight directly over our machine itself. We are using a fulcrum system. One end, it is it's a bar of certain length. The load is being applied in one end, and another end is being used creating the necessary indentation load. Here, we are more or less doing the same. We are not applying the load directly to our workpiece. We are instead, it is hanging, it is lifted up to a certain height, then released. It is starts swinging, and with an impact, it is created a huge load, which is the load multiplied by the length of this shaft, and it is equal to 16 kg meter for Azot and equal to 32, 33 kg meter for Sarpi. That is enough for breaking our impact, our work itself. Let us proceed further. Now, here is one position of the load to be hanged here. In the left side, there is a pin is a pin came out from the shaft itself, and over that pin, the total mass is lifted and placed. That pin is inside a spring operated lever, is working by a spring operated lever like this. If you move the lever rightward, the spin will go inside the shaft and release the load itself, and it will start swinging and striking the work itself. This is the process of releasing the load. Here you see, there is another position. Hmm. This is another position where you can fix your shaft accordingly. In this position, same this is the position of chassis machines. From the vertical itself, Azot position is making around 85 degree, not totally equal to 90 degree. And chassis is making from the vertical an angle equal to more or less 132 degree. And this is the chassis machines. It is very clear. Here the load is being released from much higher situation like this. So it will create almost twice impact load than the Azot itself. For Charpy, will create around 30 to 33 kg meter of swinging load. This is the position of Azot, and before over that we have seen the position of Charpy itself. Hmm. Here you see this is the hanger. I can't stop it here. This is the particular pin which is emerging out from the shaft itself, and over this pin, our total punch will take his place. Okay, and if we have of course noticed that uh, that handle, if we rotate it in clockwise direction from right side, this pin this particular pin will go inside the shaft itself and thus releasing the total weight. This is for the isotope position, and same position we have in the for the chassis also. And there is a plate here which is kept here to procure to keep this particular bar in isotope position around 85 degree from the 90 degree. But for chassis case, you have to release this bar. You have to release this particular plate and move this thing up to a place where it can fix it again to make the chassis effective. Let us see. Now, question is what we are going to do with this impact. What test we are going to do? We are going to measure how much load is required for our load is required to break our sorry break our test pieces, and we have this pendulum impact testing machine. We have a graduated plate which gives us the amount of impact load required for breaking this particular part all on a sudden. And this gives us the required load in terms of 8 joules. And total swinging position is being divided by so many graduations. I told you for IZERT, we have to swing around 85 degree. So what is condition is, here the swing will take place from 0 to 2 into 85, around 162, 164. Means the conception is like this. If you release the rod without any test twist on its way, it will swing exactly the same amount in the opposite side and go back to the original position. And this swing will maintain unless you stop it by brake. So if there is no load is there on the rod, one workpiece itself, what will happen? This swing will start from 162 and reach 0. Means there is nothing is required. There is no energy is required because nothing you have placed to brake. And this will make the swing accordingly. This indicator shaft is being governed by a plate just like this. This plate, this one. Initially, you have to brought this. This is independent to each other. Initially, you have to brought this indicator shaft up to this position and keep the plate as it is. And when this plate will swing along with your punch itself, and when it will start swing, it will swing with this, will strike this rod here, and it will put it up to the maximum height. It will go up. That is the method of using this shaft. Both is this process or IZERT as well as shafting. Now, then what we are going to do? If we place a piece of work at the passage on a vise, at the passage of swing of the punch on a vise and fix it, after release the load will swing, strike the work and break it and swing out. But in that case, he cannot swing up to the end, say from 0, because he has spent a certain amount of energy to break the workpiece. So he released from here, if there is no load, it will reach here. It is supposed to reach here, the indicator. And if there is a workpiece, it will say reach somewhere here, not above it, because which means from here to here, this amount of joules is required to break the work. Means this amount of joule is required. This amount of joule is the capacity of this particular work against impact. say in ISO testing machine. This is the main important process. Let us proceed further. It is same as pendulum. This is the uh, this is the ISO joule pendulum to red joule. ISO testing. Let me move it further a bit. It is more viewable here. For ISO, it is from 0. It is around 182 or 62 or 4. It is 64 more or less. This is the final position. Initially, you have to put this plug here, and if it machine works, if the strike and break it and reach somewhere here, here it is. Okay, let us see the CRP if possible. This is the CRP, but still it is the other side. You see, that is 150, and this one, this is for ISER. We can fix it here. This is the bottommost machine work. Not exactly 162, but around 150. You have to put, because there is certain loss in the bearing itself, you have to push the original plate here. But till here, it is 164. This is the final position. This was 140. This is 130. This is 120. If after striking the load, I mean the indicator reached here, after breaking the load, means it requires 120 joules of energy to break your work. Generally, our test specimen requires of mild steel requires around 83, 60 to 60 to 70 joules, or not more than that. Yes, I am showing that I have pressed it to the minimum position, that is 162 for IZERD. This is the Sharpie machine, this side. It is 180, it's around 200, 210, 220 or so. And it will be around 260, somewhere here. Because it will swing 130 degree at one side and total 260 degree on both sides. This is the Sharpie machine. Our load generally lifts up to the 70 ton when it's loaded, swinging, because we are having 70, which means we are having 70 joules of energy for uplifting the work. Next, or 60 or 50, etc. So many joules are required. And you see, from 60 to 70, there are 5 graduations. Means each graduation requires 2 joules. 60 to 70 is equal to 5 graduation. Everywhere it is 5 graduation between two numbers. So each graduation means only 2 kilojoules. 2 joules are there. Next, you see the punches here. We are in the isostatic, look, this is actually better view of the trigger itself. It is a better view of trigger. This load itself will be fixed. The hammer itself will be fixed on this particular rod items, which is at an angle at the end. And if we move this handle towards the left side or right side, which I have already shown, this will go inside the shaft, and load will be released. This is the position of Charpy. Formally, what I have shown you, the position of Izod. This is the position of Charpy. Okay. Now there is a punch is there. This is a striking punch. It is different from Izod Charpy. There are two punches are there, one for Ideal and one for Charpy. And you have to fix on the swinging block itself, because this particular punch is required, one for Izod and one for Charpy itself. You can't replace them. Mm. Position of the punch, position of the fixing of the load in Izod case, position of fitting in Charpy case. The Izod machine, the striking punch of the Charpy machines. Okay, let us go for the Izod test now. Now, this is the position of Izod testing machine. What we have here, releasing it here, let it goes up. Hmm.